obviously, every actor is waiting for that lead role, which, especially if it's a TV or a film, this is a big role for you. How did it come about, that you wanted to do this?
Oh, you know what? I got a text from our producer, Patrick Ian Polk, on Valentine's Day 2018. And he says, do you know any girls? I'm about to work on this project. Do you know any girls that can act, look 25, and dance on a pole? And I go, yeah, my friend, Danielle. Like, completely give the role to someone else. And then I pause, I go, but I mean, haha, I've been to taking acting classes, and I mean, I can, I dance, so I can learn pole maybe. He goes, well, let your reps know. So I reach out, and my reps do their best. Brianna tried to get me in the room. She really, really did. And they weren't interested in seeing me at that time, I was told. And so she couldn't get me in the room. And, I don't think people know how hard it is for actors to even just get in the room. And so, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go get, headshots and get a wig. I had this curly natural hair. And I was like, I get it. I probably don't look like the role. So I tell my lady, I'm like, my makeup lady, like, please, if you do my makeup for free, I think it'll help me get this role. I do a wig, I send it back to Brianna. I'm like, Brianna, what about now? She's like, Brandee, I've been trying, baby. So I'm like, okay, that's February. June comes. My friend sends me a script. She's like, I hear that there's this role and it's a dancer. I cut her off. Girl, I don't want to hear about that. They don't want me. And she was like, what do you mean? I said, I heard that, that I don't fit the role. She was like, well, didn't you just get a manager? And I'm like, yeah, but they don't want me. And she's like, try it anyway. So then I go, Miss Debbie. And Miss Debbie had been asking me for videos of me dancing. And I'm like, I don't want to dance no more, Miss Debbie. I'm not sending you nothing for me dancing because I need people to take me seriously as an actor. And so she's like, but you never know, a role might come with you having to dance. And I'm like, okay. So then I still didn't send Miss Debbie what she needed. So then I go, well, Miss Debbie, there's this role dancing. And she goes, send me your dance reel. Like the same stuff she's been asking for. Send it to her. And then she gets me an audition within 24 hours. And I'm like, and she's like, that's why I was asking for the video. And I was like, oh my gosh. And the rest has been history.
So you're playing this role, Mercedes, obviously, who works in the stripper as the OG. I like to think that whenever anybody takes on a role, you just mentioned, obviously, the role called for a dancer. Besides that attribute, how else would you compare yourself to Mercedes? What part of her is you?
Pretty much every part of Mercedes is me, except for having danced in a club. Mercedes' mom is a preacher. My dad is a preacher, or he was a preacher. Mercedes coaches dance team. Brandee's done that too, and won national champions, world champions, all of that. She's very competitive. Mercedes has a very toxic relationship with her mom. Mine was pretty as toxic as it could get growing up. So in all of those senses, it was very, very close to me. And there's some other things that come out in the show about her losing some things that too has happened to me in real life. So it was almost like therapy. It was therapy, and it was scary in some senses that how did Katori write a role that seems to have been made for me my entire life? It's really weird. And it's a blessing.
This show is set in a strip joint. Obviously, nudity is going to be required. For every actress, you go in there knowing at some point, hopefully not, you may get a role like this. How comfortable were you with that? And doing research, did you go to any of these strip bars?
Yes. So I was nervous at first. I called my daddy after it started getting really close to, you may get this job. And I asked him how he felt about it because I really wanted his approval. And he said, it's art and you're an actress, right? So go do your job. And I'm just like, what? So at that point I was like, okay, you can't tell me nothing. I don't care what nobody say. If my daddy say it's okay, it's good. And so in that case, I got rid of the fear. What was your other part of your question?
Doing the research. Did you go to
yes. So I got rid of my fear. And then I did go to strip clubs. I told someone else a fun fact. My first strip club experience was actually with Drake. And he probably doesn't even remember it. We were all on tour together and we stopped in Memphis and ended up at a club then. And that was, I remember, and I was like, everybody's like, we're going to the club. And I was like, oh, cool, what club? And then they were like, those strip club. I was like, wait, what? I've never been to a strip club, and I was like, at home, who somebody might see me. And I'm just like, okay, but at least you with Drake. And he wasn't even big Drake then that we know now. It was like years ago. but it was, I was like, I was still scared of the stigma that came along with it. I was ignorant to knowing the world. So then once they put me in training with Spider, um, she took me to clubs. She talked to me like the OG, walked me around the club. This is what you do. This is what you don't do. She ain't finna get no money. She finna get all the money. Like I was learning all of these different nuances that helped me bring that to Mercedes. She taught me kind of how to embody the OG from an OG's perspective. And then I went to clubs in LA, Atlanta, all of them in Memphis, all of the races, like they might call the white club, the black club, the mixed club. I went to all of the clubs because no matter what, the universal theme of these clubs were these women with these stories. And I would find myself like tipping a girl, getting to dance and being like, so girl, what you want to do when you leave here? And she would look at me like, I'm like, what? And I'm like, oh, I'm playing a role, like really talk to me real quick. And then they would talk to me. So I was getting, the really good information from them. And I just remember one time, one girl was dancing for me and she was like, let me go to the back. And she was just like, cause my money back there, I don't trust her. I was like, ooh, I'm learning. Okay. So it's like, y'all are friends, but we ain't that close when it comes to my money. Don't play. Don't kick my money over here. That was my dollar. I saw him throw it at me. Like,
now, the show is based on a play in which some of the characters are coming from the play, including Mercedes. Had you talked to Katori as far as how Mercedes was played on stage, and if any of those attributes are part of her character now for the series?
That's an amazing question, Wilson. I did not ever talk to Katori about them because I wanted to bring my version of Mercedes to it. And I knew that my version was good enough if I got the role. So I didn't want to ask her what any other Mercedes had done in the past, because I'm in this position at this point, and she picked me for a reason. So whatever I was bringing, I need to continue to bring. And I did ask her certain questions like, I feel that Mercedes would do something this way. What do you think? And she would always be open to it. And most times I want to say I was kind of on the right track. And every now and then she'd have to go, oh, well, this is because this happened. Because we didn't ask those questions. We didn't want to know, like, she knows where it's going down the line. She knows what Mercedes is thinking, why this is her color, things of that sort. So I might look at it and go, I don't know that that's the color that I would pick for Mercedes, but she already knows, she's the writer. This is the color because I'm going to tie that in somewhere else. Thank you. You don't have to explain anymore. That's the color. Yes, ma'am.
Now, it's kind of interesting, you mentioned what you mentioned earlier, as an actress who wasn't sure and was told this is not for you, but now you get this role and you're one of the central characters who's interacting with everybody, and you have more lines on the pages because you're the quote unquote OG. How does that make you feel as an actress, when you're now getting this role? And you've worked before, you've had other episodic roles, but here, you're one of the central characters.
You don't make me cry, Wilson. This is life-changing. It's what every actor prays for. I didn't even know what being a number one meant. I don't even have a reel. I hadn't even done a guest star until after we wrapped P-Valley. So when I tell you, when God opens doors and what's for you is for you, I was learning everything, every step of the way. I was the autumn night, the new girl to this type of position. And I'm very grateful to my cast members, showrunners, even down to hair and makeup, Miss Stevie, my makeup artist, who would be that big sister in my ear, trying to tell me how this goes. And what's funny, Octavia Spencer, Tina Knowles had a birthday party right before we started filming. And Octavia Spencer sat me down at that party and talked to me about what it was like being a number one on a show. And I will never forget, the advice that she gave me, because I didn't know what it felt like to be a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1 through 10 on a call sheet, because I had never been there. So I was just very grateful for the openness and willingness for everyone to teach me. I know Katori likes to say a lot that she was learning how to be a showrunner. Well, I was learning how to be a series regular. I was learning how to be a number one because I didn't know.
Even being number one, having seen a good portion of the episodes, this is an ensemble series. Everybody has their scene where they make their mark. So while you were shooting these episodes, how did you get along with the cast? Obviously, either whether you knew some of them already or everybody's just new to each other.
We were new to each other, but we started stalking each other on Instagram before we even started filming, like the pilot. So like I got some names and I like heard, okay, so and so booked Uncle Clifford. So I'm like Nico on Instagram, and I'm like, well, there's only one Nico. This got to be him. So then I like DM'd him, and then I'm like, oh, boom, found Uncle Clifford. So now we're like, let's go find Autumn Night, you know. And so we were like researching and stalking each other. So we all ended up on a WhatsApp, talking to each other, sending videos, laughing with each other. So we knew about each other in a sense, kind of like a what is it, Match.com or, you know, that type of thing. And then we finally had our first date when we get to the hotel and we all meet each other. And it's just been great. We always have our rooftop experience, because we had a rooftop where we all met and got to know each other and set up there. And we were like, this is the rooftop moment that we'll always remember. And so we would be at a rooftop right now, probably, if COVID didn't ruin our lives, but hey, it's all right.
Now, you mentioned Nico, which is interesting because he's the one guy that's coming from the play.
Yes.
You know, so like,
amazing.
you know, talk about how, you know, because most of your interactions on camera is with him, and he's the guy that came over. So he's the one that can tell everybody this is how it was like.
Yes, it's amazing, but Nico did not do that. And what I loved about Nico is that he would never tell us, like, we still to this day, I know he knows so much more that could happen or, you know, did happen. And of course, things get changed, but he wanted it to as well be authentic to where we are right now. He didn't want Miss Mississippi to know what the other Miss Mississippi did. He didn't want me to know what Mercedes did and what the other one did. And if I asked, he's like, okay, well, Nico, do you think she would blah, 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 blah? And he's like, what do you think she would do? You know, and I love that. He would really make you dig deep. Now, if there was something that was completely going the wrong way, he still would not tell us it's wrong. He would try to, you know, just his actions would show us the way to go. And that's exactly what Uncle Clifford does. She shows us the way to go. And so this role is perfect for him because she runs the club, and she was helping be the glue as well in this unit as well.
You know, we got a lot of things, you know, as we're home now until movies somehow come back, you know, there's a lot to watch on TV, including that everything old is new again. You know, what do you think is the attraction to watching this series, obviously, as it airs on Sunday nights?
Everything is new again. I watched it again last night and caught something else. Like, this is not the show, Wilson, that you're going to watch and you're going to be on your laptop or you're going to be cooking because you're going to miss something. Like, every time you watch it, you catch something. It's in the words, it's in the camera where it pans to catch something. Like, don't blink, you might miss something. So it's that show you can watch over and over and over. You know how some shows you're like, oh, I seen that. I'm good on that. I don't need to see it again. I can see the next episode, but I don't ever need to see the episode again. No, you can watch this over and over and over and over and still be intrigued, still be interested.
You know, the beauty of it is that it's a weekly show. There's plenty of time for people to get to know who you are as episode, as opposed to a streaming where everything's all done at once. You know,
yes.
And you know, obviously we're home, we're watching this series, and for those who are going to be watching it, and they're going to wonder who you are. How are you keeping yourself occupied, as we all have been, knowing that like when this comes out in a few weeks, people are just now going to know who Brandee Evans is?
You know what? Because of my foundation with my family and my mom and dad, how they've just raised me, nothing's going to change in my world except people will realize who Brandee is. But as far as Brandee changing, Brandee still got to go in that room and be a caregiver. You know, the difference between me and a lot of actors is that I'm a caregiver as well. So I took my mother to Atlanta, and she's completely bedbound. You know, I have to do everything for her. So when we wrap, I'm feeding, I'm changing, I'm cleaning. You know what I mean? I have a grown baby, you know, multiple sclerosis, unfortunately. So I won't change. I can't afford to change, if that makes sense. So while I'm very grateful for the attention that this will bring, you know, I hope it goes in a way of maybe people see me and it will help with another job, because right now, my hustle, just like Mercedes has her hustle, my hustle is my mother and she's my life. And so that's why I'm doing all of this.
Well, Brandee, it was a pleasure to speaking to you. Obviously, when people start seeing this, they're going to be like, who's Brandee? She's knocking it out of the park. Get ready for Twitter to explode. Keep doing your thing. And we're here to support.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Wilson. It was nice meeting you.
Have a good one. Yes. Take care.